What just happened?
So I'm driving up here to undisclosed location 1, and I'm getting these phone calls all of a sudden, just like I got random phone calls a week ago that said Donald Trump has been shot, and we didn't even know at the time what was going on. And then suddenly I'm getting phone calls from my team saying, hey, Joe Biden has just dropped out. I'm like, what do you mean he dropped out? Is there an Oval Office address? He's not in the Oval Office. He's supposed to be in Rehoboth. This very suspicious letter, which is signed by Joe Biden in a signature that is different from all of his other signatures, gets put out, and it says that he is dropping out of the race. It doesn't cite a reason. It doesn't cite any specifics as to what's going on, doesn't endorse Kamala Harris in the letter itself, and it's just posted to his Twitter account, just X. So it's posted up there, and we don't hear from him. We don't see him. We don't see Jill. We don't see any of the senior staff. His senior staffers are the ones informing the cabinet after this. So Biden himself doesn't even call his own cabinet to talk to them.
So it's 11:15 on Monday.
Yes.
And as of right, and by the time this is posted, it may change, but we have not heard from Biden.
We have not heard from Biden or seen Biden personally since, no proof of life, since Wednesday at this event in Las Vegas, where they pulled him out because he was diagnosed with COVID. Nothing.
There's been no sighting of him at all?
As of today, I haven't seen anything. I haven't heard anything. We get all these reports from someone familiar with the president's thinking, familiar with Joe Biden's, thought processes, someone who claims that they just saw Biden. But no, there's no Biden. There's no evidence of Biden. There's no sighting of Biden. There's no Biden taking a selfie saying, hey, America, thanks for the memories. Nothing. Not a single piece of it.
The closest we have, I think, is his brother Frank coming out to CBS yesterday, but not on camera.
Right.
Telling the reporter, I love my brother, and for whatever time he has left, I'll be glad to be with him. And then the Biden family apparently comes out and says, well, actually, Frank's an alcoholic. You can't listen to anything he says.
Yeah, that's crazy, Frank. And he hasn't talked to his brother in weeks. But that being said, even if he did talk to his brother weeks ago, and there was a medical condition that raises to that level, then we don't know. Look, that being said, though, what he said, Frank, about Biden, whatever time he has left, that actually lines up with something that I heard from a well-placed White House official, not as high as the inner circle or anything like that, but said something about Biden asking questions about, what is it like to have dementia? What is it like to lose your mind? And realizing that there's no future for you. Your future is your legacy, of course, but your future personally is you're going to be confined to a bed, and you're going to wake up and maybe not recognize people's faces, this type of thing, and that he was asking those questions. And so perhaps when he talked to his brother, he said something similar.
But it's Monday. We're in the middle of two wars, and we're in the middle of these wars. We're paying for these wars. Americans are fighting in these wars right now. And there may be a third war with Iran approaching quickly. That's my read on it. And there's no proof that Joe Biden even exists right now.
There's nothing. This is even Khrushchev. So when the Soviets wanted to get rid of Khrushchev in 1964, he was on vacation, and he's down in, I guess it's in the Republic of Georgia now, in Abkhazia, and he's on the beach, and Brezhnev and all the guys get together in the Kremlin, and they say, okay, we're done with this guy. He's old. We're pushing him out. They're like, we're not going to wait for death of Stalin on him. We're just going to go in and decide we're making the move. They get with the KGB because Brezhnev had already kind of maneuvered everything, so his guys were in power, and they run the full Unhumans playbook on him and say, you're done. They have him come back. When he flies back, and they say, we have a meeting to discuss agricultural reports, and they come in. KGB intercepts Khrushchev at the airport. They bring him in, and they hand the letter in front of him, and they say, this is the letter. You're going to sign it. And Khrushchev at that point goes, you know what? I'm old. I always kind of knew this day was going to come. So he just goes along with it. He just totally lays out. They put him under house arrest for the rest of his life. He's never seen or heard from again. He gets like a memoir that comes out.
But that's the Soviet Union. I mean, this is a free and
there's
transparent country owned by
like
its own citizens.
Whatever go on here. I mean,
so you
Tucker, that's a crazy other thing.
But what's so bewildering to me is that nobody mentions it. I mean,
go look at the media right now. if Wired.com, it's a conspiracy theory to say that this was a coup. There's this whole hagiography that's going on right now of, it was this tense decision that Biden was grappling with.
But we don't know any of that.
Oh, of course we do. We've been informed by people close to his thinking that this is exactly how it went down. And of course, none of us were in the room. None of us got to see any of this, but we're all told, no, this is exactly what happened. Joe Biden isn't out there himself telling us that any of it's happened. And as of the time of recording, we haven't even heard from Kamala Harris yet, who we're told there isn't anything physically wrong with her. So why isn't Kamala coming out, or Jill coming out, or anyone coming out and just talking to the American people and at least giving us some semblance of a story as to what's going on?
As someone who's thought for the last few years that this was not a democracy, it's an oligarchy, the real business conducted in the shadows, shielded from public scrutiny by lies and classification laws. I've thought all that for a while because it's clearly true. But to see that all revealed, they just took the mask off.
So what
is shocking.
What you're seeing is a layer being pulled back, and the core is never revealed. So in the intelligence community, you would say, all right, if your cover is blown, or you've got an issue with your cover, you've got an issue with our identity, whatever it is, someone's asking questions about the operation, you never come out and say, well, you got me, I'm CIA, yep, Langley sent me. No, what you would do is that you would peel back a layer and say, okay, I may have lied about this thing, but here's what's really going on. But you never get to the full truth. So think of it as layers of an onion, for example. So you never get to the core. Just one peel comes off, and now we're going to go with that. So the peel that's coming off right now is, yes, Leviathan does have to show itself in order for this move to take place. And that's what's happening. So this idea that you live in, that they promote a lot more than Republicans promote, by the way, that we live in a democracy and the people are the ultimate arbiters of sovereignty and justice in America. And we're fighting to protect our democracy. By the way, we're protecting our democracy from Donald Trump, who's the biggest threat to democracy. But this guy, well, we don't like him anymore, so we're just going to remove him, and we're going to pull his money, and we're going to pull his delegates. And then actually, to me, the most interesting thing that I see is when you watch all these delegates, all these delegations are coming out now. North Carolina has decided they're behind Kamala Harris, and New York says they're behind Kamala Harris, and each delegation starts going. This is like watching the election results in North Korea. Because what do you mean the delegates are suddenly for Kamala Harris? The delegates were voted for by the people of the Democrat Party. Like 14 million people or something voted in this election, and suddenly their votes don't matter anymore. And the oligarchs have just decided.
It does seem like we're at a point where all of a sudden it happened fast. We're beyond words and rhetoric, beyond politics, beyond process even. And we're dealing with people who are absolutely willing to kill other people for power. Like, that's real.
Of course.
And to stage a coup against an elected president who supposedly got 15 million more votes than any president in history.
Where are all the Biden voters?
But it's like nobody even cares about all that stuff. None of that was ever real. Now they're admitting it's not real. And it's just the people with the guns are in charge. It does feel that way.
It's 100% true. And this is, look, we have the book about it. And when you have an oligarchy that is pushed up against the wall, which by the way, they are right now. And it's a dangerous point, but also they would not be doing this if they didn't have to. If they didn't have to go up against Trump, if the assassin's bullet had been 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch to the right, and things had gone a little bit differently in that field in Butler, Pennsylvania, then they wouldn't be having to make these moves,
right? Because
then it would be, oh my gosh, this horrible thing, but we're gonna trudge on. The election must go on. America must be safe. Joe Biden is the guy, the stable candidate. And you'd be hearing the exact opposite from all of them. They'd be talking about how great Biden is presiding over the funeral of Donald Trump, and maybe give him a state funeral or something like that to sort of, appease the right, but of course never actually give any
But I
power.
wonder if we'll remember what we're learning right now, which is that everything that Joe Scarborough and Wolf Blitzer and Margaret Brennan or, all these people, it's all lies. They'll say anything they need to say. The Democratic Party is not democratic in any sense. Its voters are purely puppets, so are its politicians. It's all fake. And that maybe we should just never forget that and say it out loud. Like, none of this means anything. You're yapping about democracy, of rule of law and order. Like, it's all fake. You're totalitarians. You'll kill people who get in your way. You can never have power. And the rest of us should be prepared to make actual sacrifices to prevent you from getting power, because we're going to become a totalitarian state if you do. I mean, those seem like the obvious lessons to me.
The final goal here is the deconstruction of American elections.
Of course.
And the idea that, so 2016, if you look at it through the Unhumans playbook, the Unhumans lens, the filter, is that, these people have taken control and have been in control for, we could debate exactly when the control point took place.
November of 63, probably.
That's a pretty good date.
Yeah.
That
seems like an obvious one.
Kind of just pull it out of
yeah.
And so the idea then is that since that's taken over, the national security state has taken over in league with the oligarchs, et cetera, that every president since then has either had to come directly from there, like George H.W. Bush, who was the director of CIA before he became president, or been at least acquiescent to their whims and going along with their wars, going along with whatever it is that the plan is for the empire. And then 2016 happens like by accident. And because, who would have thought this guy could come in and take over? And so you have this problem. You're trying to get him out of office the entire time. You're trying to bat him down, kick him off the beachhead but at the same time, you're also infiltrating and you're going through the administration. You're planning your people in to at least subvert as much as possible. So then you get people like Pompeo and people like Bolton get in. So they're trying to run a couple of regime change ops in Venezuela or, doing different things in the Gulf, for example. And so, but it never really goes anywhere because at the end of the day, he's still not one of yours. So then you get rid of him in 2020. Then finally, you have the opportunity to take another bite at the apple. Somehow the lawfare doesn't work. Somehow all of these things don't work. You always know that you have a nuclear option in a situation like that. And the nuclear option is like November 1963.
Yeah, just murder the guy.
But you wouldn't want to do that first. And this was something that the East Berliners understood and the Stasi understood, that if you can just you can assassinate someone's personality, then that's so much easier than just actually killing them, because then you might
break their spirit.
You might turn them into a martyr. But if you break their spirit, maybe, if you're lucky, they commit suicide, or at least they just stay out of public view for forever. This is what was done to dissidents and opposition in East Germany for years. And this is what they understood. This is why they didn't have to go full great purges of Stalin. Once the 1970s rolled around, now you're starting to get mass media, you're starting to get television, all these tools start to be used. And so you destroy someone's reputation with that. But then social media comes around. In social media, you don't have those tools anymore. And suddenly you don't have control of the narrative. The narrative gets lost to you. So through social media, suddenly people can connect and say, hey, have you noticed this thing? Yeah, I noticed that thing. Did you notice that? I noticed that thing. But the media doesn't seem to be talking about this. And yet when you could say, well, wait a minute, I'm here. I can see it. This is actually happening in front of my eyes. Here's a video of it. Oh, by the way. And I can show you what's going on in real time through live streams, et cetera, et cetera. And so this becomes a massive, massive problem.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. We hope you'll subscribe to it. And by the way, you can hit the little bell on there and get notifications every time we produce a video. We hope you'll do that also.